Hi there, welcome back to Power Tongue. This is Frater Maharis, and we're trying something different now, a bit of a different setup, but this is a new playlist I'm going to be making called Daily Magic, where I flesh out some of my own foundational opinions on popular aspects of a daily magical practice. You know, things we're all doing and things that seem kind of basic. But this is from my own perspective and my own unique and maybe weird blend of magicianhood, and what we're doing here for the life of the world. Today's topic sounds like a super basic topic, and it's the magical diary. But while it is foundational and it's taught about to death in basically every Magic primer course, it's discussed, but I think it goes a lot deeper than beginner magicians understand, and certainly deeper than I understood for a long time. First of all, I think we need to stop, and I'm talking to myself too, we need to stop looking at journaling like it's a nuisance or strictly this data entry type of operation, and come to the realization that the journaling that we're doing, the writing in this book on a consistent basis, is actually a form of magic in itself. It's actually a magical operation, and that journal becomes an actual magical tool. Eventually, as it grows and evolves, your magical diary becomes an altar. It becomes a magical workspace. It becomes a personal diary. It becomes a grimoire. All these things in one. It's there for you through all the ups and downs that you go through in life. And I thank God for my own that while I've gone through like trials and tribulations like everybody has, we've all dealt with ups and downs. The diary's always been there and it's been consistent, and I've been able to flesh things out and really look at things from a deeper perspective. But magically speaking, beyond the mundane benefits of keeping a journal, we know that there's psychological benefits to recording things down in this format. But from a magical perspective, it's not just a record of what we're doing. It's not just like, okay, the day's Friday, May 15th. I pulled a tarot card. I pulled out the Fool. I'm stepping into unknown territory. I'm trying something new. It is more than that. It's more than just this record. It's actually an exteriorization of the inner workings we're dealing with. So we're turning something that's not observable, something that's invisible, something that's in the inner world, we're turning it into something observable. And it's observable throughout time because we can look back in our diary, and we can also do entries in the future of our diary and the present. We transcend all time, backwards and forwards, through this act of magical observation. And this allows us to achieve what we always say, like this Greek aphorism, know thyself. To know thyself, the journal comes into play in a really deep and meaningful way, I think, because we can look back, we can look forward, we can write down something that we're probably going to forget in our carnal body, obviously. I've forgotten a lot more than I've remembered, and I think we're all like that. I think this is a reason why quite literally every magical course, book, whatever, always begins with instructing its apprentices to begin a journaling practice immediately. And another aspect of how the diary helped me in my magical journey is through the connection with the daimon or the HGA, the Holy Guardian Angel, or however you see this companion entity or being or force in your life, or God or the universe, or whatever this helper that you have in life is a very common method of them interacting with you and working with you is through your journaling. And trust me on that. The HGA has spoken to me many times in kind of subtle ways through my journaling process. So when we write in our diary, we hone in our focus and awareness through the filter. The journal becomes a filter. And that, like we said before, that filter bridges the inner and the outer worlds. So we hone our focus through that filter towards a specific medium, which is the mundane writing, the act of writing or automatic writing or whatever you call it. That seems to trigger the HGA and also, by the way, other spiritual contacts, spirits you're working with, or helper beings, the Sandalphon, or the noble ones, whoever is helping you on your journey, and your journey in this context is life, they are triggered when you're writing in your journal. And they begin to interface with your journal by sending you channeled thoughts to your diary. So you become this sort of bridged being where you take on the consciousness of this helper, and that the way that expresses itself in the real world here, the way that that becomes something tangible that you can work with, something observable or whatever, is by being written in your magical diary. And I think the journal, it's becoming even more important. I've found this in my own life. We're going into the future here. We're looking at like this rise of AI and technology, and people aren't writing things anymore. People aren't trying to remember things because they can always ask ChatGPT. Like, what is the like? Say you're going to perform the LBRP. You're just a beginner starting off. You type in ChatGPT like, how do I do the LBRP? And it tells you all the steps of the LBRP, and then it tells you exactly what to visualize and what to feel and all this. But that's not specific to you. That's not contacts working through AI to you. That's just like a conglomeration of all this like information from all these different sources. What you want is to actually write that you perform the LBRP in your diary, and then write down what you saw, what you heard, what you smelled, what you felt, all that stuff. Because that's specific magical flow working through you into the real world. So as the collective of humanity loses touch with just that, their humanity, like on that note, look at people now. Like, they're asking AI to summarize books for them instead of reading them. They're asking AI to write their blog articles instead of writing them. We're asking it questions instead of researching primary sources ourselves. When we pull out our magical diary, when we treat it as the sacred magical tool that it is, that actually develops a consciousness of its own, it becomes a helper of its own. We slow down, we pontificate, we really dig into our own mind and our own emotions and our own inner world, our own inner landscape. And then we create a magical log of this point in time. This is so powerful. This is the type of thing that can actually change our world. In fact, I'm going to say something controversial, but if keeping your magical diary is the only actual act of magic that you ever do, you'll still have a more meaningful and impactful practice that changes your life and the lives of those around you and the world and everything in your manifest reality for the better. You'll have a more powerful practice than that armchair occultist that does nothing of the sort. Like, they say they performed ℚ𝕚𝕤𝕤, they never wrote anything down in their magical diary. Your practice is more powerful if you are compiling this flow of magic into some type of tangible form in your life. That's what Magick's all about. Making the world better, making your life better. And on your magical journey, like the first step of that is the magical diary. The first step is to write it down. It doesn't matter. I'm not one of these diehards that's like it has to be written in pen in an actual notebook. You can write it in the Notes app on your phone. You can write it in a document on your computer. That's not the important part. The important part is that you are actually channeling stuff from the inner and putting it into the outer, putting it somewhere where you can return to it and you can build on it, and you can, over time, look at patterns, look at trends, look at how the magic is working, how it has worked, at what point in time, to what end, what beings were helping you there, and what beings seem to be continuously working with you in the unconscious way. That's my perspective on the magical diary. So as you look at your daily magical practice, make the diary part of it. This has been the biggest impact on my own practice. Before, like, I was lazy with the diary at first. I wasn't using it the way I should have been. It, all that stuff's gone. It's gone to the abyss. It's gone. Yes, I could return to it in vision. Yes, I could probably find that information because it is recorded in the inner library, or whatever you want to call it, the Akashic records, or however all the magician's information is compiled in the inner world. Yes, you could access that again. But it wasn't made manifest in the third dimension here, in reality. When we write in our diary, that's what we're doing. It's a powerful form of magic that needs to be prioritized in the life of the magician. Until I started doing that, the real magic hasn't even started. I'm sorry to say, but it hasn't. It hasn't. You have to have a magical diary. It's so important. You cannot be lazy. This is the foundation of what's going to be your purpose and your practice. If you want to be a powerful magician, write things down in some way or another. Anyway, this has been ℚ𝕙𝕐𝕔𝕜. Just a few thoughts. I don't know how you feel about this format. You can't see me. Not that that's a big loss or anything, but it's different. It's different working in this format, but it could be interesting. Let's see where it goes. This has been Power Tongue. Subscribe and comment and like, and let's interact with each other. Let's work our magic together for the betterment of the world. God knows it needs it. Thank you. Be blessed.